Hey everybody, welcome back to the Sonic Chronicle. My name is Owen, and today we are doing another Release Radar review. Before I do get into that though, I just want to point something out, is that I've listened to it as it kind of came out, but a friend of the show, John Steele, has released recently a number of tracks that are about the Chernobyl event from 1986. The interesting thing about this project that he did was that he actually had a repository of sounds from Chernobyl that he used to be able to create music to make something beautiful out of something horrific. It's something that I listened to, as I say, as it kind of came out. He released one every week for I think about 4 or 5 weeks. 5 weeks I think it was. And then he released the whole thing. So I listened to the whole thing again there yesterday, and I think that that's well worth your time. I'll leave a link to that full album in the description of this video below. So that's a quick recommendation for you outside of the Release Radar review. I have taken a look down through the track lists here, and one of the things that has immediately jumped out at me is that there aren't very many unknown acts here. Right, there's big acts here that I've known about and heard of for years and years and years, and you've probably heard of all of them as well. Which is a little bit disappointing. It's not something that I normally like from a Release Radar review, but there's a couple in there that I might give a listen to that aren't very well known. That said, we are going to kick off with a New Zealand Ardor track. It's called Clawing Out, and those of you who have been watching this show for a while will be aware that I enjoy Zealand Ardor a great deal based on the last track that they released. I like the art over here as well. Yeah, it's cool art. Ooh, this is immediately a filthy groove. And very sinister. That atonal kind of bend. It's like it's doing the evil interval, but with a bend. Cool little riff there. Or cool little fill. This is heavy. But it doesn't sound like it's drop tuned. It probably sounds like I think it sounds like it's in standard tuning. I could be wrong on that. But I suppose it just kind of goes to show that you don't necessarily need to down tune to make a song heavy. Oh, offbeats. Yeah, I like that. As in playing across the beat a little bit. You don't normally get that kind of like, well, from what I've listened to from Zealand Ardor, you don't normally get that guttural kind of growling or shouting. One thing to note about this song as well is that it's almost 4 minutes long, which is unusual for Zealand Ardor as well. I wonder if they're doing that trick there that Tom Morello does, where you have like the volume all the way up on one thing and then you kind of like whammy, and then you flick the pickup selector. I hope I explained that correctly. Future me, fix that if I didn't explain that correctly. Or at least throw up an example of what I mean, the Tom Morello thing.
Well, the guitar has 2 pickups, right? The volume for one of them is turned to 0, so you don't hear anything. The volume on the other one's turned to 10, so it's very loud. So when you switch between the two, it acts as a kill switch. So if you add like a little sort of white noise to that and rub your fingers along the strings, you get a little...
I think I prefer the other song that they've released ahead of the new album in August. This is cool, but it's a little bit disjointed for me. Like, don't get me wrong, it's heavy and I like that, and there's elements of this that I really like, but I just think that it's a little bit disjointed. And I was thinking, as I was listening to it, that that'll be an absolute nightmare to play live, unless something changes about it. But yeah, overall, pretty good song. I like it. Just a little bit disjointed for me. We're going to jump past Taylor Swift because my thoughts on that have already been posted on the channel. We're going to jump past Prince as well, and this song with Charlie Sage and Josh Ritter. We're going to listen to Get a Grip by Black Sabbath and Tony Iommi. Although I would have thought that Black Sabbath would have included Tony Iommi, but maybe I'm wrong on that. Oh, is this a compilation album? Oh, this isn't Ozzy. Well, I guess it's not Ozzy because He's not part of Black Sabbath anymore. He's gone solo. Who's the singer these days? Because I know that for a while it was Dio. But then obviously Ozzy came back. So I don't know who... Or sorry, it was... Yeah, Ronnie James Dio. Yeah. So I don't know who the current singer is. Yeah, let's find out who the singer is on this one. But is this a new single? Oh, this is Tony Martin. Okay, yeah, okay. So this is the Tony Martin era box set, and this is a lead single off of this box set. Okay, cool. But this came out back in 1995. I mean, it's okay. It's no Ozzy era, like Tony Martin. He's no Ozzy. You know, you don't think of Black Sabbath and go, oh yeah, he was the singer of Black Sabbath. Similar to the way when you think of AC/DC, you may or may not think of Brian Jones as the singer. Hey folks, this is Future Owen here, just to apologize for this because of course we know that the singer of AC/DC is actually Brian Johnson and not Brian Jones. Apologies. You might think of Bon Scott. I don't, for the record. I think that Jones is the singer. Let me just make sure I've got that name correct. Brian Johnson. Jesus Christ, what's wrong with me? Brian Johnson is the singer in AC/DC. I think of him as the de facto singer. I don't think of Bon Scott whenever someone asks me who is the singer in AC/DC. I don't feel like this is as heavy as Black Sabbath should be either. It's a little bit light for me. It's probably a production issue more than anything else, though. Because they were always a standard tuning band. Oh my god, I can't speak today. A standard tuning band. So any time that they were heavy, it was always kind of down to, you know, playing across the top three strings, the thicker strings, bass being very present in the mix, and production effectively. All right, we're going to listen to Summertime Voodoo by Highly Suspect. Although it's 7 minutes long, this better be worth my time. As Above, So Below, out July 19th. Tell me about who Highly Suspect are. They have a bunch of records? They do. One a year. Interesting. They've got 1.5 million monthly listeners. They don't need me. That bass tone is pretty sick, though. It's very well produced. But yeah, that bass. That's pretty slick. Oh, lovely guitar line there. Fair play to them. I normally don't really like that guitar tone, but it's working here. That bit of fuzz on there. I normally like a much tighter kind of distorted sound. A bit of spring reverb on there as well. But that bass is filthy and I love it. It's a very effects heavy song is what I'll say here. And I'm not sure that that's a good thing. I feel like it's nearly artificially inflating the length of this song by them playing with some of these effects, you know? I feel like this song is getting in its own way a little bit. I feel like this could be tighter. Like, don't get me wrong, I'm all for like a band like having a bit of a jam in the middle of a song. Ideally live, but you know, when it's happening on a track that's been put down on a record, unless it's the final track on the album, I'm not really into it too much. I like my tight, you know, well designed songs that kind of get to the point and they do everything that they want to do without having these big, sprawling parts. But we've another 2 minutes to go. Like, if I look at the album that this came from... Oh, there is no album. It's just a single. That's a single? It's 7 minutes long and it's a single? Who allowed them to do that? Roadrunner. Oh, that explains it. Never mind. You see, there's a 3-minute, 41-second long radio edit. I presume cuts out all of that. This section that we're listening to now. I don't think this adds anything here. So are they going to do another chorus here? This is pointless. It's a waste of my time. I'm the Night Rider, baby, is how you're going to end your song. Your single. You're released ahead of releasing an album. I am the Night Rider is how you're going to end that. I'm Michael Knight and I've got a talking car.
Michael Knight, a young loner on a crusade to champion the cause of the innocent, the helpless, the powerless, in a world of criminals who operate above the law.
That's annoying. That's just annoying. Again, it could have been much shorter. A really defined, really tight kind of rock song. But, you know, I really feel like they kind of got in their own way there. Anyway, let's move forward and listen to Serj Tankian. I normally like Serj Tankian songs. He's got a book coming out, actually, called Down with the System, talking about his time in music and his time with System of a Down. It seems as though it's going to be an interesting read. He talks about how he almost signed Muse and stuff in it. So that's going to be an interesting one. It's one to keep an eye out. Maybe when it comes out, I'll have a read and do a little review of it or something like that. This is a cool chorus. He's such a great vocalist. I wonder who his band are, because it's obviously not, you know, Darren and the rest of the band. Is that they using a whammy part as part of the riff? There, yeah. I thought that was going to break into My Sharona for a second there. What a weird bass tone, though. It kind of sounds like a Sega Mega Drive sound effect. Or like... Yeah, that sound chip from like a Sega Mega Drive. Or Genesis if you're in America. It kind of reminds me of... That bass line reminds me of... if anyone has played Final Fantasy IX... when you go to Kina's Swamp to play the frog catching game, it kind of reminds me of that. Future me, if you can get that track and like, yeah, you know what to do. This probably wouldn't be too difficult to work out, to play. Oh, that's cool. Strings. Interesting. He's a cool guy. I like Serj. I like Serj Tankian. He seems to have his head on straight. His whole thing about, you know, System of a Down is like, I just don't like touring anymore. It puts my body and my mind through an awful lot, and I just can't deal with it anymore. Not with my family. And I get that. I can understand that entirely. Alright, we're going to listen to Perfect American by Velvetcut. Whoever they are. This is where we get onto a few people that maybe we haven't heard of. Ooh. This is giving me Bad Religion vibes. At least it was. Oh, cool change. Big chorus on that bass. Very trebly bass. Who the hell are Velvetcut? They got 1,200 monthly listeners. They look like a bunch of dads. That's cool. From Finland, okay. Returns as a trio, okay. Eating Machine was released in April 2024. 3 albums during its active years from 2001 to 2012. From gothic alternative rock and metal. Interesting. I quite like it. I like this. That's a cool little joining riff. Cool little bridge. It's cool. The backing vocals here are great. Yeah, lovely. Oh, are we... Oh, there's a guitar there. Yeah, okay. Yeah, this is very Bad Religion. Like, Infected, isn't it? Oh, I thought they were going to do a... Dum, 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 and then have the vocals go on over it. And having cut everything out. Maybe put some hand claps in there, you know? It's a good outro. Yeah, it's a very good outro. It's also really well produced. Everything sits really nicely in there. In that mix. Oh, interesting. There was some kind of envelope on the vocal there. I like that a lot. And so help me God. I'm going to give that the Sonic Chronicle seal of approval. I just think that that's a really cool, really straightforward rock song with some punk undertones in there. And even though there's no big guitar solo in there, where I think there maybe should have been, I think that it's really cool. The vocals are great. The backing vocals are great. Well, the vocals really suit. The backing vocals are really nicely built. The guitar layers are really interesting and really, really well thought out. Great job, Velvetcut. You did really well. All right, I'm going to listen to Olive Vox, and I think we're going to leave it there for this one. We're going to listen to Ain't No Rest for the Wicked by Olive Vox. Hang on. This is a cover. I think. This isn't their song, is it? Let me look this up. Yeah, this is by Cage the Elephant. This is a cover. I mean, it's a great song, but it's not theirs. Like, what's interesting is that Cage the Elephant are up here, and it's right there. You can see that I've got it added to a playlist. You know what? In protest for them releasing that song on Spotify as a single, I'm going to go back and listen to the Cage the Elephant song because it's only 2 minutes long. Because the song Ain't No Rest for the Wicked is great, well worth your time. You should go and listen to that. But I'm not going to give it to Olive Vox. It's pretty nice though. Obviously very different compared to Ain't No Rest for the Wicked. I quite like it kind of has some the National vibes. Haunted and blue blazes. Da 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 da. Da 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 da. Brainy, brainy, brainy. That's the one. It's probably just the chord progression though. Obviously, like, it's much more upbeat. A little bit janglier. I was looking something up there. Cage the Elephant. They're much popular than they were when I would have first heard of them, and one of the things that kind of sprung to mind there was how bands have kind of gone the other way as well, that some of the more popular bands, the bigger bands, have had to effectively quit and get real jobs, like Grizzly Bear. I think that some of their band members basically couldn't afford to continue to tour, and as a result, had to get a job as a therapist. I think one of them did, rather than continue on in the band making music because it wasn't viable, despite the fact that they were very, very big, and very, very popular. Which sadly is something that is because of things like Spotify and streaming music and things like Apple Music, because you don't get paid very much when you do put your music out on streaming services. When you tour and you sell merchandise, that's when you start to make a couple of quid, and even then I think it's relatively modest, unless you're enormous like Tay or Bebe or some other word that rhymes with either of those things. Anyway, with that said and out of the way, minor rant done. Let's talk about this. Clawing Out by Zealand. Yeah, it was okay. It wasn't my favourite thing by Zealand. It was a little bit disjointed for me. Get a Grip by Black Sabbath. It's an old song and a little bit on the lamer side of Black Sabbath's history, in my opinion. We listened to Summertime Voodoo by Highly Suspect, which was far too long, and it was a bit of a crappy ending. AF Day by Serj Tankian was pretty rockin'. I like Serj Tankian a lot, as I said, so I think that was pretty good. We listened to Metaverse by KG11, which was very pleasant. We listened to Perfect American by Velvetcut. It got the Sonic Chronicles seal of approval. It was really, really good. Really enjoyed that. And then down here we also listened to Ain't No Rest for the Wicked by Cage the Elephant, covered by Olive Fox down here. So overall, I wouldn't say it was the best release radar. It had loads of big names in here, but I would have preferred if it had some smaller names, some less well-known names, if it had meant maybe a higher level of quality in the release radar in terms of the music. Speaking of high-quality music as well, as I said at the very beginning of the video, John Steele, friend of the show, has released a new album that is available for free on Bandcamp. If you would like to download it from there, I will also put a link to that in the description of this video as well. If you want to access that, it is an album that is about the Chernobyl disaster in 1986 that features sounds from Chernobyl on it as well, that he's used the horror of that event to create something beautiful. So I do recommend that. It's well worth a listen. As well, if you like this video, please do hit that like button. Subscribe to the channel to see more of this kind of stuff. Have it dropped directly into your subscriber feed as well. And of course, leave me comments if you disagree with me on anything here. If you want to talk to me about anything, if you want to reach out to me about anything, feel free to leave a comment in the comment section. But for now, I will leave it there, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.